officially live. All right, y'all. What up? What up? What up? Y'all know what time it is. It's your girl, Jackie Johnson, representing for the Happy Black Woman today.
And it is LaQuisha, aka LQ, and I am still saying examine what is said and not who is speaking.
All right, now that's what it is. So this is My Sister and Me LLC, and we want to welcome you guys to Sister Conversations
in Black.
All right.
We almost had it.
Almost. she be leaving me hanging until the in Black part. I'm gonna need you to hit the My Sisters, and we're gonna get there.
It sounds better to coming from you.
Okay, we're gonna work on it. We're gonna compromise. Anyhow, y'all know what it is. It's Sunday. Y'all know what day it is. It's conversation day. It gets rough, it gets rocky. But we are in episode 12, which is part 2 of our The Agenda series. So only God knows where we're going today. I'm not even going to delay or hold it up. We're going to get right on into this thing. So I'm going to throw it on over to my sis. She's going to kick us off and we're going to conversate. Let's go.
All right. So as you all, if you follow our Facebook pages, you would know that my sister and me are both in Minnesota. We came to Minnesota post the trial and post verdict. And so we really wanted to kind of get some boots on the ground here. And one thing that we've been noticing since the verdict is the attitude of Black America in the state, the attitude of our people in the state. So today, because we're talking about the agenda, one part of the agenda that I wanted to speak about that we both were going to talk about is mental health and the factors that mental health plays on our attitudes and how we represent each other and how we even communicate with one another. And there's been a lot of social tension since the verdict, social tension since everything has happened, because for the life of me, and I'm just going to go here, I don't understand how we're out in the streets killing each other when they're killing us.
Yeah, make sense. That don't make no sense.
We're literally under attack, and yet you're still at war.
You know what? I want to interject, and I know you just in the intro, but what you said brings a trigger to me, because I think I was just having this conversation telling somebody, with everything that's going on and with us fighting this demon, this spirit, this enemy, whatever you want to call it, of racism, Black people live in some people live in constant fear, some others live in constant awareness that our lives are being hunted. We're being hunted. Facts. Black men especially, Black young men especially, but Black women are in there too. We're being hunted.
Yeah.
So with what you just said, with everything that we're enduring as a Black people, okay, we're literally being hunted. They're really trying to annihilate us. And it's like, I get so angry because I start thinking about exactly what you said. They're trying to kill us and take us out. We're trying to kill each other and take us out. But I want to even go deeper and say the Black family is breaking down. I told somebody just the other day, this is not the time for no husband to abandon their family. This is not no time for no wife to walk off. This is not no time for no mother or father to abandon their children. Like, at the end of the day, you're supposed to protect the family unit at all costs. I don't care if I gotta sleep in another room, bro. My family is not getting unprotected. And so it bothers me. And on top of that, we got men hitting women. Black men, you beating on your women. Black women, you're fighting your men. Like, this just ain't the time for that. This ain't the time for that. This is preservation time. How do you allow, you're already endangered. You're an endangered species. Whether you know it or not, Black men, Black women, you are an endangered species. So as we go through this episode, I really want people to think on a different level. I don't even understand how people out kicking it, partying, drinking, smoking, clubbing. They killing us, dude. They killing us, homegirl. And y'all out kicking it? You out kicking it? What? How are you preserving yourself or your family kicking it, getting high? Like, tell me, what about that is preserving your family, your people, the people you love? What about that is productive? I'm sorry, I'm angry. I'm angry today.
All right. Well, I understand, and with good reason. So let's talk about it. Most in our culture, most African Americans do not go to therapy. We're going to tie this all together with what she just said. They do not go to therapy. They do not seek out mental health. So in my opinion, this is one of the reasons that the Black family is being broken down, because we have been raised on a policy of what goes on in this house stays in this house. You don't talk about it. Mm-hmm. And so what happens is, when you suppress those things and you put them on the back burner, you tend to act out in ways that aren't conducive to yourself or to others. Right. And usually for a lot of people that haven't been raised to express themselves in a healthy manner, a lot of times they go to anger, which is how you end up with a lot of violence, because we weren't taught constructive ways of dealing with our emotion, especially men, Black men in particular. But then you also have the women that really, we express, but we're often misunderstood as loud, forceful, agitated, angry, when really the only thing that we're trying to say is that we just need to be heard and that we're really, really tired. But because it's coming off in a tone of voice that can seem to others as being forceful, but it's a way that we grew up. It's a way that we learned to communicate. This is the way we talk. One known fact about Black women is that a lot of us are very direct. And so a lot of times people take our directiveness as you're being forceful or aggressive. And we're not being aggressive. This is the way that we communicate with one another because it is what we understand. Right. But when you suppress those feelings of abandonment, which we have a lot of in the Black community by the people that are supposed to love and care for us and look after us, when you suppress those feelings and you don't get the mental health, you don't go and get the counseling that you need, it affects us. So this is why we can say, even amongst the George Floyd verdict, we got Ma'Khia, we've got Dante, we've got all these people that are dying at the hands of the police, and Black people are still out killing each other. They're still out using other ways of coping, drinking, clubbing. They're still using other ways of coping. Why? Because they don't know how to cope.
Oh, you believe that the drinking, smoking, and clubbing is coping?
I think that the drinking, smoking, and clubbing is a way of escape sometimes to not have to deal with reality. Also, people do it because, come on, as a young person, we've all done it. I've done it. So as a young person, it's fun. But when you get older and you have responsibilities such as bills or, loved ones that you're supposed to be taking care of, and instead of being there for them, you choose to go and spend your time indulging in something that's not beneficial to your family, that is a lack of responsibility. Where does a lack of responsibility come from? A lack of accountability. No, it's not a lack of responsibility. Y'all forgive me. The responsibility is there. It's the lack of accountability. Why is there a lack of accountability? Because at that point in present time, they do not want to be accountable for anyone. Why? Maybe because they feel like someone abandoned them. They don't want the responsibility of having to take care of anything or think of anything important. So this is my way of escape to deal with my issues, when you really could have just gotten some counseling, some therapy, and learned some constructive ways to deal with it. I see your face. What you want to say?
No, I'm just saying, we've been on here for at least 14 weeks, and every week we talking about therapy. And
but we have to.
I just hope people is listening, because people think that therapy is for white people, or is how could it possibly help? But like, I have gone through therapy multiple times. Anytime now that I really deal with some type of big trauma or big change, I get therapy, because I now understand the power of it. And so I really just hope people like paying attention. Like, we wouldn't be sitting here talking about therapy if it didn't work, if it didn't help. You know what I'm saying? Like, anybody who knows both of us know that we have gone through some very traumatic things in our lifetime, but especially in recent times. And both of us are still happy women, standing strong, still productive, still beautiful, still living our life. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, we're not dealing with the things that most people deal with when they go through the things that we have gone through it. We're not suffering from depression. We're not sitting around like putting our life on hold. Like, we're living, and we're only able to do that, number one, because we have God. Number two, because we got therapy to deal with the trauma, and continue to do some forms of therapy to continue to cope. And so when you say that drugs and alcohol and partying and stuff is a coping mechanism, I agree with that, because I talk about it, I preach about it. We're all going to use something to cope. And whether people realize this or not, you're using something in your life to cope with the things that you don't want to face, or the things you cannot emotionally handle or face. You're coping somehow. And if you're drinking a lot, or smoking a lot, or clubbing a lot, or doing non-productive things often, that's probably how you're coping, and it's not healthy. That means you're not actually coping. It means that what you're doing is self-medicating yourself, so you don't have to think about it, so you don't have to face it, so you don't have to deal with it. And that is not a solution. That's just going to dig you further and further into a ditch that you're going to eventually have to climb out.
There's a lot of shame and stigma surrounding therapy that keep Black people away. So for many Black men, it is a sign of weakness to seek therapy or counseling.
I'm so sad though, because for Black men, like, everything is a sign of weakness. Talking to your mate about your feelings is a sign of weakness. Saying you need help, sign of weakness. Like, what isn't a sign of weakness to our Black men?
And and I'm not gonna lie, I've got to take some of the blame. It's some of the ways that we've raised them as being single Black women. You can't be weak. You can't do this. I'm not saying me, but I'm willing to accept that for us, because some Black women won't admit it. But I have seen Black women say, "Boy, you crying? Stop crying." I'm sorry, sis. I've seen it.
No,
what you crying for?
No, I definitely have seen it.
For that.
I've seen it, and I know that it comes from a place where they because the stigma about Black women, single Black women who raise sons, is that we raise weak sons because we're too sensitive, because we let them get away with too much or whatever. So I think a lot of times a single Black woman has that in her ear. So when she would want to encourage her son to express his feelings, because that is healthy, she thinks about, am I making him weak? You understand what I'm saying? And so I know a lot. So a lot of Black women, like, I've talked to, like, even my mother, who was a single Black woman, and there were men around, but nobody there helping her raise her children. And even asking her some questions about our, childhood and why things were done the way that they were. And it's
Yeah.
like, she even said to me, well, like, I didn't want him to be weak. I didn't want your brother to be weak. You know what I mean? I didn't want him to be, or I didn't want him to be gay. Facts. They think that too. And so I think for some of them, not for all of them, because some of them is just mean and hateful, or that's how they was raised, honestly. But for some single Black women, there is a stigma that they will raise a weak man because they're women. And so they try to be extra hard on their sons, yes, so that they're not encouraging soft-like behavior, if I can say that. And I'm not even gonna put it all off on that single woman, because oftentimes when you're a single woman raising sons, you depend on the men in your family to help you out. And guess what? They do the same stuff. Stop that crying.
Well, I'm not putting it all off on them, just a little piece of it. Yeah. But I do want to say that that those are good reasonings as well, or that's a good reason. But I was going to say as well, from my aspect, I think that a lot of single Black women are bitter because they are single Black women, and from whatever cards life has dealt them, okay, whether it be families not functional, or the baby daddy or husband not doing what he's supposed to do, or walking out on the family. I think maybe bitter isn't the right word. I'm going to use this word: hurt.
I mean, I could, I could agree with both, because you may start out just being hurt, but if you don't get no help and you don't heal, you become bitter.
Well, that's the point that I was just going to make. And so what do we do? Now, I hope people are paying attention if they watch this, but let me tell you what we do. As Black women, we don't always go and seek therapy, because what we're taught is mama's baby, daddy's maybe. When he ain't around, you pick up the pieces. When you ain't got nobody, you depend on yourself. You lean on yourself. That's what we're taught. I'm not saying everybody do it, but that's what we're taught. So what we do is we function. We function on broken pieces. We function in pain. We continue to go and don't never deal with the hurt that this man, if a man walked out on you, sis, that you love, you might need some therapy. Don't let your homegirls talk about, oh, girl, he just another one, just do this and do that. No, if you love them, you might need some therapy, because why? It might trigger some abandonment issues if your daddy wasn't there. It might trigger abandonment issues if your mama wasn't there. It might trigger some abandonment issues if your best friends, y'all fell out and you haven't talked to them in a while. Why? Because as Black women, our relationships are important. And I ain't trying to get on this soapbox, but I feel this one deep. Our relationships are important. And as much as people can say they're not, when you come across an angry Black woman that don't like people, quote unquote, the angry Black woman, but not according to society, according to us, that don't like other people. Yeah, that don't like people. It's because she's been hurt somewhere down the line, and she laid her trust on the line. She laid her love on the line. She laid her affection on the line, and somebody stepped all over her. And I'm not saying it was a man. It could have been a mama, a daddy, a sister, a brother. It could have been a friend. But at the end of the day, our love is so deep, y'all. I'm going to get up off of this here, but our love is so deep. Black women love on a whole nother level. Nothing against my white sisters, because I know y'all out there, some of my white female cousins. I know y'all love too, but we love from a place of pain, because we have seen struggle, and we have seen how society looks at our brothers. We have seen how society looks at us. We have seen how society doesn't want to give us a fair chance. So when we love from a place of pain. We love from a place of nobody else will understand you like I do, because I live the same struggle. So yes, the brother can go out and get a woman of a different race, but does she understand his struggle because of this? Does she understand his struggle because of these and this? Nobody will ever be able to understand you like I do. So then when I give you the love from my place of pain, because I get you, when you decide to walk away from me, when you decide you want to leave me, leave these kids or whatever, and I'm not talking about a personal thing, because my ex did not walk away from us. So please don't be in my business. Examine what it said, not who is speaking. What I'm saying is, I love you from a depth that that other races would not understand. And
Well,
when a man
go ahead.
or a woman or a cousin or a friend steps all over your depth of love, you have a lot of Black women that says, I never do that like that again.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you what the word is now, because I don't agree with it. Return the energy.
Well, I'm gonna interject there. And say this. I agree with that 100%. And I think like it's such a depth to it, because we learn how to love you through your pain while we're going through our own pain.
Yeah.
And that's what makes our love so deep, so real, so true. It's really almost like unconditional love. Facts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and this is really one reason why you can have a man who walks out on you, you'll take him back. You can have a man who cheats on you, you'll forgive him, because it is that thing that we have, that even though you're hurting me, I have unconditional, real love for you, because real love is unconditional. If you go by biblical standards, that is what real love is. So we don't just love you when you act right. We don't just love you when you do the right thing. We don't just love you when you treat us right. We love you when you treat us like trash. We love you when you act like you don't appreciate us. We love you when you fall 5, 6, 7 times. We love you when you want to be lazy and don't want to do your job. But we don't get that same love from the Black man, which is why we end up in that place after they leave us, walk out and abandon us, because it's like you will deal with all of his downfalls, his insecurities, his inadequacies, and you will still love him and give and give and give. But he doesn't do that for you, because when he gets tired, when he wants to go do something new, if you fall or you make a mistake, he's done. He's out. And so
that's why I said that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is just, that's why when a Black woman loses that love, whether it's a brother, whether it's a mother, whether it's a man, or when she loses that love, it devastates her, because she gave you unconditionally and you didn't give her unconditionally.
So it's very important for us as a community, when people walk away from you, you know, it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It can be a friend. It can be when you lose a job. It's very important that you go and get some help, or you have some healthy sisters to talk to. Not ones that's going to agree with your ignorance, or not ones that's going to agree just to agree because they like you. No.
Or they don't want to upset you.
Or they don't want to upset you. You need healthy people to talk to that's going to say, well, baby, I'm here to listen. Okay? And point you in the right direction. So another stigma that I think why men don't go to therapy, because they have hard mothers coming from hard experiences, because they've never dealt with abandonment. But another reason that Black people don't go to therapy is because a lot of times we spoke in church, and I'm about to go down this block, that we only need God.
Absolutely.
We only need God, and we don't need therapy.
Absolutely.
Okay? But see, here's the thing. The Bible tells us to be wise. It tells us to be wise. The Bible also says faith without works is what? Dead. So how can you have faith in God but do no work for your mental health, or your physical health, or your emotional health? This is why faith without works is dead. Because you have faith, but you have no works, which guess what? Makes your faith null and void. It makes your faith non-workable. It makes your faith unproductive. Because you can say, I'm believing God for me to stop smoking cigarettes, and I'm just using this, okay? I'm believing God for me to stop smoking cigarettes, but you never put on a nicotine patch, or you never go to therapy to stop smoking, or you never try to, you know what I mean? Like, you don't try.
You're not doing anything to actually try to accomplish that.
Exactly. So then that makes your faith null and void. Mm-hmm. Last but not least, you have a lot of people that say therapy and counseling is for rich white people stuff. Who said? How is that for white people? Are we not all? I know we are all, like, we have different, we're different cultures and ethnicities, but are we not all human?
Right.
Are we not all built with a mind, a body, and a soul? So if we are all built with a mind, body, and soul, your wealth class should not determine whether your soul needs nourishment or your mental needs health. Good health. None of that is determined by wealth. All of that is determined by you just being a human. Mm-hmm. And even some animals, they put animals through therapy. The stroke of a horse's mane is therapeutic. I'm serious. Your sister knows a lot of weird facts.
Hey, I watch National Geographic, so
it's true. When you stroke a cat, they begin to what? When you stroke a cat, they purr. Why do they purr? It's a term, it's endearment to them. It's therapeutic. So if an animal needs therapy, why wouldn't you? Mm-hmm. Is that just for rich animals? Excuse me? Right. I only know one cat that is filthy rich. One. And two. The Whiskers cat and the other lady. Anyway, that's all.
The Fancy Feast.
Yeah, Fancy Feast. I'm not gonna go there, but y'all know what I'm trying to say. So yes, we don't go to therapy, and so I think a lot of the one thing of the mental health, because we're talking about the agenda in the breakdown of the Black family, mental health. It's not sought after. We don't go after it.
It's not talked about. It's not encouraged.
Not talked about. And I'm gonna go ahead and put this out here, this fact, because I know we have some scholars that like to talk and stuff after the fact. Okay, scholars, we know that a lot of mental health in the Black communities is not discussed and is stigmatized, and I know why. Because we know that the establishment, the society, the world has misdiagnosed us and used us as guinea pigs. So for a long time, we were trained not to trust mental health professionals. Yeah. We were trained not to trust medical health professionals. Right. We can talk about the the Tuskegee incident, the Tuskegee era when they were injecting men. We can talk about, Black women being tested on. We can talk about in psychological facilities when they were trying to figure out how people were bipolar and stuff, and they were screwing stuff. We can talk about all kinds of things. So there has been the stigma around us because of what has happened to us. But in this day and age, when we're dealing with so many people that's woke, when we're dealing with so many people that's no longer ignorant, like, we have all of the sources and we got all of this history, right? So because we have all of this history, you should know when someone is trying to use you as a guinea pig. And now in our community, we've got trusted professionals. We've got Black psychologists, psychiatrists, mental health professionals. Find you one that you trust and go to that one. It doesn't have to be
that part.
Someone from the Caucasus Mountains. It don't have to be them. It can be one of us.
Not the Caucasus.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. Because a lot of people they don't go because they don't like them. And if you're a Christian, listen, they got Christian counselors. I had to. So you can find the people that represents us, and they do it well. Right. But that's one of the things that I think is affecting us. Now, because you guys know I like to switch this to current day events. So when we go to current day events, listen, the amount of killings in the public eye is traumatizing somebody Black.
Mm-hmm.
Every day you see it. It is traumatizing somebody Black. I don't care what you say.
And if it's not traumatizing, it's desensitizing, which is even worse. Because when you become desensitized to the violence, it becomes normal. It's no awe effect. It's no man. You come to a place where you don't even feel emotion behind it. It's just like, it's another killing. It's another Black person dead. Desensitizing is worse almost sometimes than traumatic, being traumatized.
So researchers identified 49 publicized incidents of racial violence against Black people between 2012 and 2017. That may not be a lot to y'all, but publicized. We don't even know the number that's not publicized. But the ones that are publicized, we have almost 50 that has been played out in front of our eyes. Okay? And all you got to do is Google that. That increases the suicide, anxiety, and depression in the average Black working person. If you watch, ooh, that's rough. That's rough. That's rough. That's rough. Sis, do you have anything to say on that?
I mean, when we talk about any type of mental illness, and really what she was saying is like, we deal with a lot of mental issues in our community that are not diagnosed, meaning you don't know that you have a mental disorder. I mean, even a lot of us even joke about people being bipolar. Like, oh, they bipolar. Like, no, sometimes they really are bipolar. And so I'm not a big person who believes that you can cure mental illness with medicine. I'm not one of those people. I think that therapy is very strong, because 9 times out of 10, it's the trauma and the experiences that have hurt you, devastated you, and triggered you, that are locked inside of you, that's causing all of this havoc. And so therapy and counseling is a great way to get that stuff out of you and get it compartmentalized with somebody who understands how to unpack, how to help you process, how to help you deal. And that's what we are missing. You understand what I'm saying? Because a lot of times, yeah, you think you're getting therapy talking to your homegirl, but if the homegirl ain't got no wisdom and she ain't got no sound doctrine, or your homeboy don't really have no wisdom and don't know how to guide you, they gonna say whatever, because they're talking from their place of toxic stuff too. If you break up with your girl, and your homeboy bitter because his girl left him, you can't talk to him about what you just went through, because he's already toxic. His girl left him. What advice is you about to get from him? He about to tell you, live it up, party, forget these girls, you don't need them. Like, that's not what you need to hear. You need to talk to someone who has been where you have been, and they have survived it, not just survived it, but they're thriving, like they learn how to get through it. And that's how come you need to pay attention when people who have been in situations like you start talking to you. Don't look at them like, oh, you failed, you did this, you did that. Yeah, I did that. That's what I'm trying to talk to you. So you don't make the same dummy mistake, sir, ma'am. So like,
and so that's right. Weird. That and just to piggyback on what I was saying before, you're right, sis. But what I was saying before was that to show you how traumatized we are with these public events, go to a white person, Caucasus, from the Caucasus Mountains, and ask them how this has affected them. But they can express, pain and hurt. Listen to the words that they use. And then after that, go to your sister or your brother and ask them, how has this affected them? And listen to the words that they use. When you go to a Caucasian white person, when you go to them, you know what? It's a real tragedy all around the board. Let me just role play. Y'all know I like to do that. Amy, how do you feel about today's events and the murder of the George Floyd on the street? It's a real tragedy all the way around. Our nation needs healing. We are just, right now, we're lost. We need to come together. It's not about black, white, or blue. Our nation needs healing. Bonquisha, how do you feel about George Floyd being murdered on the street? I'm tired of this. We need healing. But if they don't stop, it's going to be a problem. See the difference? You can always tell when trauma has affected a person. Listen. Listen to their words. The incidents have affected us differently. We need therapy. Even if you don't have any personal, so you think personal trauma, even with today and what's going on, like I talk to my young people all the time. How do you all feel? Because at the end of the day, they go to school, they go to work, and all of that, they have to deal with stuff too. We need to know how they are feeling. Because they got to go into this world.
Let's stop
Go
there.
ahead.
That's also an issue. That's also an issue in a Black family. Because especially with children, you don't care about how they feel. You don't ask them how they feel. You don't help them process what they feel. You don't believe half the stuff they tell you when they tell you how they feel. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, another thing that grows the trauma because let's be real, a lot of our trauma starts in childhood. Yeah. As a child, and I can only talk about the experiences that I encountered as a child, seeing people murdered.
Ooh, sad.
Seeing people raped. Drug deals in my face. Prostitution in our face. Drug addicted parents who leave their children in a house alone. I babysitted many kids who parents literally went out to the club, left their babies in the house, and came back when they came back. I took care of a lot of children as a child myself like that because I felt so bad for those kids. So then let's not talk about mama want a man so bad, she bringing niggas in and out the house whenever. Let's not talk about the pervert that she dating, that she brings in the house, who raping or molesting your son, daughter, both, or coming on to your teenage daughter. Then let's talk about the stuff that happens there. You want a man so bad, you don't even believe your daughter when she tell you, he looking at me funny. He touched me, he raped me. Like, this is the trauma that develops at a young age. And we're not even talking to our kids about it, let alone getting them help. And then we grow up trying to be young women, trying to be young men, trying to have relationships, trying to get married, trying to find the right way. And we don't know how to deal with this trauma. And then you do it like what we did. You find God, and you're still going, and you're getting better, but you still got this trauma because you don't know you got this trauma until your first husband walk off or something is done to you in that first relationship, and then it triggers all the trauma from childhood, and you dealing with the trauma he just put you through or she just put you through. That's what we deal with as a people. So you're gonna tell me you're gonna take the trauma from childhood, you're gonna take the trauma from your first relationship, you're gonna take the trauma from the parent who was absent in your life, and you don't need nothing to cope with that, to deal with that, to become healthy? This is why our family units are broken. That's another big reason why our family units are broken.
Yes. So she's absolutely right. So what it is you have a suitcase, right? And picture this, in the bottom of the suitcase, okay, at the bottom of the suitcase. And that dryer sheet represents the essence of who you are, okay? And so what happens is you begin to pack that dryer. You begin to pack that suitcase. You're gonna take some nice clean clothes and put them on top of that dryer sheet. And so then after that, you know, you still got to put stuff in this suitcase. So the clothes that you've worn, or maybe they've gotten a little worn, you may take them off and throw them on top. Okay. And so then you got some clothes on top of them clothes. And so then you go and get some more clothes that's maybe some brand new clothes. Oh, this makes me feel good. This will make me feel good for a little bit. So then you take them clothes and you throw them on top of the clothes that you already worn, which is on top of the clothes that you were born with. So you got a dryer sheet that represents your soul, the filter. And then you got the clothes that you were born with, or the clothes that you were born with that are new and fresh. But then you got some clothes that you have on, that you wear, and then you take those off and you throw them in there because they didn't got holy. But then you go out and you go and buy something new. And you go buy something new because it gives you a temporary fix. And you throw that on top of there. Okay. But let me tell you something. The dirty clothes, and then you got some dirty clothes that you just don't wash. Okay. And those are the ones in the middle. So the ones in the middle, guess what? It doesn't matter if you got the ones clean ones at the bottom and clean ones at the top. The ones in the middle is going to affect everybody. If you take one bad apple, put it in a bag of good apples that's got one rotten spot on it, eventually it's going to rot other apples. It's going to rot other apples. So now you've got this suitcase with all of these clothes in it, and you thinking, well, I got a clean pair of clothes in here somewhere. But how many of you know that when you take that dirty stuff off of that clean stuff, it stinks? Mm-hmm. It stinks. It's still a stench. And guess what's happened to your filter now? Your filter is no good. It's no good. That was at the bottom of the suitcase. And instead of you dealing with the holy clothes in the middle, or going back to the essence of the new clothes that you had in the beginning, you kept buying temporary clothes. I know y'all, I like to use these stupid analogies, but you kept buying these temporary things to fix the stuff that was holy. When all you got to do is go back to your original stuff. You might have outgrown it or whatever, but go back. So what am I saying? It's like you, instead of dealing with the original essence of who you are and the original, the original essence of who you are, what you do is you go and get things and you create a temporary fix. And that temporary fix, you throw it in the suitcase. Then you go get some more and you throw it in the suitcase. Then you go get some more and you throw it in the suitcase. And all of this is being piled on top of your filter. Your filter is your conscience. Your filter is your soul. Your filter is your mental health, your moral high ground in the decisions that you make to be a better person. That's your filter. But now your filter is affected by all of these different things. You got holes in one area, dirtiness in another area, and something shiny and new in one. This is why mental health is important.
Absolutely.
Because we don't learn at a young age how to compartmentalize, like you said, those different things. Going out and doing something new and buying something new isn't going to fix the problem, because eventually you're going to still end up back at the same place. But guess what now, baby girl? Your soul is tainted. It's affected. Ooh, if I could really break this thing down, I would. But we ain't got the time. One day we will. But your soul is now affected by all of these things that you throw thrown on top of it. And guess what? It's tainted. So when your soul is tainted, your mind is not in a place to make clear judgment. Clear judgment, clear decisions. It's not there because your soul is tainted by the things that you have thrown on top of it. Remember,
and then you surround yourself with other people who have tainted souls, who ain't dealing with nothing.
Everybody.
So now everybody just helping each other make bad decisions because nobody there has the healthiness or the wisdom to say, we need to probably deal with this a different way. No, everybody's now helping each other because, and even maybe self-medicate one another.
And we talked about this yesterday, sis. What did we say? We said people think that they're winning because they have high moments.
Oh, yes.
You have a high moment.
High moments. Oh, let's talk.
And when I say high moment, I don't mean like,
even though that can be a part of your high moment.
That too. But I mean high moments like, I got my taxes, we eating good. I like to take on this, girl's funny. I got my taxes, we eating good, we got seafood boils popping, everything is lovely. Taxes don't last forever.
Yeah, you seem happy during that phase, that moment.
Right, during that time.
When the money is gone.
To the struggle. We have high moments because we have trauma to do it. Okay. And then we're now painted because what does a person say that has a high moment? I'm winning. I don't need this. I don't need that. I'm a boss. I'm self-made. A lot of y'all use the term self-made, don't even know what it is, but we're gonna go to that another time. You using it well. Anyway, I'm having a high moment. So I don't need nobody. But how do you feel when that man or woman has left you and you're alone? And you think about, why is this always happening to me? I'm a good woman. I have moments. Baby, you have high moments. But the difference is, those are high moments. I would rather walk in moments of peace forever than high moments every semester, every quarter, or every season. Peace on a daily basis is better than high moments.
Sporadic.
Where does that come from? Well, it all wraps up. Those high moments come from a place of feeling inadequate for others, depression for some, because those high moments make you feel like you're no longer inadequate. In those high moments, people love you because you're up. In those high moments, you're not dealing with depression because you've got some of the things that you need, which also goes back to dealing with trauma and having to get some mental health. Because I'm gonna tell you something right now, this every single day in this life is not guaranteed that you're gonna have exactly everything that you need. You could, it would be nice, but even some rich people will tell you, I've got all of this and all of that, and I'm still lacking in this. Even rich people will tell you that. This is why we have to learn how to be happy with who we are, where we are, and when we are in that moment, wherever we are. We've got to learn. And I said this earlier today on a live, that we have to be secure in knowing, if this happened before, it'll happen again. And I'm believing it. Mm-hmm. Which is why this is why we need mental health. This is why we need counseling, because you go up, then you go down, then you go up, then you go down. Then it's a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster. And then this is going back to my initial thing. Since I've been here in the state, this roller coaster, since I've been here in this state, I have witnessed a number of Black women angry. And I know y'all don't like the term angry Black woman, neither do I, but I'm using it differently from society because society uses it as we're just angry Black women. I'm using it as we just be coming at each other for no reason. Like you tripping. Angry because of this. Just a month ago when they was hitting them PPPE loans or PP double triple PPE, PPPE or the taxes, it was all good. Seafood boils and matching clothes. Now we angry. Need some help.
Yeah, because the big difference in basically what you're saying, the big difference is when you have high moments, you depend on rare occasions that make you feel good about your life. As opposed to when you are a healthy and a healed individual, you have a life of peace and joy. And there's a difference between even joy and happiness. Happiness is based on external things. Joy is something that's inside of you. The peace that you have in your life gives you a sense of joy all the time. You don't need something spectacular to happen. You don't need high moments to be happy. When you have peace, when you have joy, that is your happiness. Like it creates happiness in the smallest things. Whether it's waking up to the person you love, whether it's seeing your children excel in life, whether it's having homegirls who bosses like you, whether it's still getting to talk to your mother or father on the phone. Like when you have joy and peace on the inside of yourself, you find happiness everywhere. Happiness is all around you, from the sun shining on you, from your walks in the daytime, in the nature, to you know what I'm saying?
It is.
That's joy and peace, but that only comes when you're on a path of healing.
Yes.
And you're healing, and you're you know what I'm saying? When you're dealing with your trauma, you're dealing with your hurt and your pain, it starts bringing this place of healing and healthiness into your life. And that's what releases that peace and that joy. If you're a person that's dependent on high moments, you live outside of those high moments, you live in a place of depression, you live in a place of inadequacy, insecurity, struggle. Like that is your constant state of being. So emotionally, you are exhausted and drained, which is why a lot of people turn to alcohol, drugs, sex, clubbing, all of those, anything that will get them some attention to get another high moment. So
yes, all we're saying is, we're talking about the agenda. We're talking about the breakdown of the Black family. Mental health is one of them. We can't go, we've had centuries of social injustice. We've gone through trauma just collectively as a people. So why wouldn't we need some sort of therapy? Why wouldn't we need it? All we're saying is get that. And if you don't know where to start, I'm an insurance professional. My sister has a lot of connections, just even in LA and different places with the Black women of Minnesota caucus. Sis, can you say that? What is it?
What you say?
I'm sorry, Black women of Minnesota. What's the title? The Black women of Minnesota.
Oh, you mean Black Wall Street, Minnesota?
Yes. I apologize to Black Wall Street of Minnesota. Okay. The air here is like, it's just ripping through me. I'm used to some stability of sun. Okay.
Facts.
Okay. So, she's got a lot of connections. If you're not sure who you can use, you can send me a message. Listen, I deal with money, but I know insurance. So you can send me some messages. I'm going to listen. I'm going to hook you up on where you can go.
Yeah. If you need help, if you need to know where you can get mental health services or, just counseling, therapy, if you're looking for some low cost, if you're even looking for free, like just get with us. We will help you find something, because I'm telling y'all, like, it's so needed. We need to get counseling and therapy. I'm telling y'all, once you start doing that, you will start seeing yourself becoming this healthy individual. And then you'll be able to have healthy relationships. You'll be able to be a healthy father or a healthy mother. Like, real talk. If you want things in your life to get better, and I mean, especially, let's talk about relationships. If you leave a relationship, like, don't leave a relationship and go into another one when you know that you have issues that really is the reason why you had to leave that relationship. Because you need to deal with your trauma. You need to deal with your issues. It's not just the other person. It's the things that you're dealing with or not dealing with internally. If you get in another relationship, you're just going to add on to that because you're not healthy. And that's a big thing for our culture, because if a man leave you, a woman leave you, or y'all break up, like the first thing you want to do is run out and get somebody and prove that you over them or it was them and not you. Like, no, take care of your mental health. Deal with the stuff that caused you issues. Evaluate why that relationship didn't work. Like, evaluate your part. Forget, like, yeah, they might have cheated, or yeah, they might have whatever. But don't even deal with that. Deal with your part. Like, what happened? Like, where's your breakdown? What can be better about your life and the things that how you dealt with that person? You understand what I'm saying? Like, that's all a part of healing. Once you deal with that, then you can start dealing with what they did. You can forgive that with no problem, because what you start to understand is they might have had more extensive trauma or issues than you did, but y'all all had something going on. You understand what I'm saying? And sometimes it could be something little in you that triggers the trauma in them, or the dysfunction in them, or the unhealthiness in them. So at the end of the day, you don't really just jump from relationship to relationship. Deal with your stuff. And if it's a relationship worth salvaging, salvage it. Don't run to the next person, because all you're about to do is create issues over there, especially if you haven't dealt with the last.
Yeah. Statistically, women are the heads of household, single Black women, 30% more than white women. White women are single, head of the household. This is what they said, statistic wise, 9%.
Can I be real? Can I be real? Why? Because every other race except our race sticks together. They don't care about the problems they have. One thing you can say about white people, and I know we got a lot of stuff to say, but white people going to therapy. The first time Johnny act like he want to leave, or Sally act like she don't want to be in it no more, they're gonna say, baby, we need to go to couples therapy. And guess what? They may not want to do it, but guess what? They want to keep that family together. They're going to couples therapy. And sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. But I'll tell you what they don't do. They don't just immediately run off. That's what our race does. Even Mexicans, even Indians, they don't just run off. They do everything they can to work. Girl, listen, and y'all, I'm sorry to all my Mexican friends and family. Girl, they have 2 and 3 families. What you mean? They sticking with everybody. They ain't leaving no man behind, okay? But our race of people, if they tired of being in a relationship today, they out. No work, know how to salvage it. If you done talk to them crazy today, they out. Like, it don't take much. They abandon the family so easily, and it's sad because it didn't used to be that way. And I think me and you even talked about this. If we have families sticking together during slavery time, during a time where the Black man literally
could they walk out no choice during slavery now. They ain't had no choice.
No, they had choices. You remember, they were selling the family off because they didn't want the family together.
Yeah, they couldn't tell them they didn't want to go though.
You understand what? But what I'm saying is like let's talk about that Jim Crow South life where they was technically free. Understand what I'm saying? But like they literally could leave home that day and be lynched. Understand what I'm saying? Them men went out risking their lives to make a couple of cents to take care of that family. They didn't walk off and leave her with the child and run away up north to freedom. If they was gonna run up north to a better life, they worked, saved their coins, and took the family up north for a better life. We used to have men and women who stood together. Listen, if we go back to our great-great-grandparents, girl, my great-great-grandparents was together for like forever, died together. You understand what I'm saying? Like they did not, and they had issues. They would, if you sat down, and I like to sit down and talk to older people, so I would hear a lot of their stories. They went through a lot of stuff, from infidelity to other stuff, but they didn't go nowhere. You understand what I'm saying? Because it was their family. It was about their family. And I think today we don't have that same thing. You don't have men talking about, yeah, I just want a wife and some kids and I just want a family. You don't hear men talking like that no more. You don't even hear women talk like that no more because women have wanted that and then they get with these men and they run off, or they quit or whatever, and then they leave her holding the bag, and now she don't believe in the sanctity of marriage no more. She don't believe that there is a man who's gonna stick through it with her. You understand what I'm saying? So like the dynamic has definitely changed. Now we can debate all day how and why, but the reality is it has changed. Men used to want to be husbands and fathers. Women used to want to be wives and mothers. And now we're living in a time where people don't want that. And that also jeopardizes the family unit.
So, we're a podcast that always likes to offer solutions. And so, like we already said previously, if you're looking for any mental health professionals, just let me know. Let us know. We can put a list on the page actually to find out who takes certain insurances. So if you've got Health Partners, UCare, whatever you got, send me a message. And we'll find something.
And even if you have like medical through the state or the government.
Yeah, that's what Health Partners and UCare.
Most of those do pay for family counseling. They don't pay for couples or marriage counseling, but they do pay for family counseling. Yeah. However, I understand sometimes you might not want to use who's in their network. There are even free places that do free counseling.
Correct.
Can I be real with you? There's even YouTube videos.
Correct.
On certain topics that you literally can watch and connect with. So there is no excuse in this now generation to not get some form of therapy. Okay. Correct. So that's like the number one. You're going to hear us say that every week. Therapy and counseling is our number one solution. It's needed. It's needed.
Yes. Yes. And I mean, we've got other factors to go into. I know the time is getting late and we are on mini vacays. But just to kind of throw this in here for Black men, the ones that have been incarcerated, counseling. Okay.
Please, counseling.
I don't have nothing against brothers that's been locked up. Me personally, it's something about that Black skin. Okay, and I ain't got nothing against any other race. It's something about that Black skin for me. But counseling, okay? Families that have come from the hood in extreme poverty, counseling. Homeless person that has just gotten back on their feet, counseling. People that have had substance abuse problems and now you're clean. Counseling,
especially.
Okay. Why do I say homelessness? Being without. So now you're afraid that you'll be without again, or that nothing will ever stay.
Or that you'll fail.
Yeah, or that you'll fail. Why do I say poverty? Being without, never having enough. So now you've got a bad take or a bad look on life. Substance abuse. That drug took something away from you and it may even have caused risk in your family. These are high risk things that we deal with in the Black community. All three of them is high risk. Facts, 4 of them. Social economic status, poverty, incarceration, substance abuse, and homelessness. Huge in the Black community. Homeless men, huge in the Black community. Creates issues of mental health problems. Okay, so a solution, because you know we always got to offer one, is reach out to us so that you can get the help that you need and do not consider it as weak. Heck, you ain't got to tell nobody. Period. It ain't their business anyway. Show business. All of a sudden they're gonna wake up and you just gonna be living in the sunlight. Okay, while they still walking around looking miserable with dry skin. My skin was dry earlier about this emotional. With dry skin. Okay, so yes, that. What do I want to say before we wrap this up? What I want to say before we wrap this up, I'm not going to speak from my notes. I'm a note girl, and this won't be long. Mind your business if it ain't helpful. Mind your business if it ain't helpful. I saw a post that said people would rather gossip about you than offer you the help that you need. Mind your business if it ain't helpful, because somewhere you got something that's messed up too. That's my closing remarks. Mind your business if it ain't helpful.
That's good. I'm gonna give 2 things for my closing remark. Number one, I'm gonna piggyback off of that and say, if you can't help them, don't hinder them. You can't help them, don't hinder them. Just don't say nothing, don't do nothing. Let them figure it out, but don't make it worse. My second thing would be, don't reject advice from people who have been where you've been. Always consider, of course, always consider, like, is that person struggling with what you're struggling with? If they're not struggling with what you're struggling with, if you know that they may have done what you're doing, but you know that they're living a different, better life, pay attention to the wisdom. Don't take it as they're trying to run you or tell you what to do. A lot of times when we make mistakes and we learn from them, when we see somebody else making a mistake, it's something in us that tells us we have an obligation to say something to that person. If you take that as, I'm trying to boss you or tell you what to do, you're going to miss it. Because all they're trying to do is help you avoid a pitfall that they already fell in. And sometimes, especially younger men, and first of all, men, period, have a hard time taking advice and counsel. But especially younger men, because y'all had this thing like, I got it, I'm grown, I got this. Like, you didn't do everything right in your life. They know, bro. That's why they trying to talk to you. They know, sis. We know, sis. I'm 43 now. I'm gonna talk to you about some 23-year-old stuff you doing right now.
We know.
I did that, failed at it twice and figured it out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so don't knock it when somebody who is clearly or can tell you how they have fallen or been where you are right now and came back or came out of that healthy and happy. You might want to take some notes and pay attention. You don't have to go through everything yourself. You don't have to hit every brick wall. Like, learn to accept that help and that wisdom. And if it apply, it apply. And if it don't, then it don't. But don't take offense to it like somebody is telling you you're inadequate or they're trying to school you or check you or teach you. Because sometimes that's instantly where our mind goes, instead of saying, this person is telling me that they failed in this very place that I'm in. And what
if they are? What if they are trying to school you and teach you or tell you something? You so opposed to learning anything. You're not the teacher of everything. A great teacher is a great student. Go ahead, sis. People kill me. Jeez.
You know, I only say that because sometimes it's the attitude. Because I ain't gonna lie, if you coming at me like you trying to check me or school me, yeah, I'm turned off. But what I'm saying is, sometimes people misunderstand. That's not how you're coming at them at all. It's just they have an offense. They have an offense on them already. They already feel like you're just trying to school them, so they don't hear nothing you say because they already got that. I'm saying when you know you failing, you ain't got to admit it to the world, but you know when you're failing, and you know when you're struggling, you know when you're making bad decisions. Like, sis, bro, that ain't the time for your pride. That is the time to get out of it. That's the time to stop failing, stop making mistakes. You understand what I'm saying? So you got to get some help if you don't know how to do that, obviously, because you keep making the mistakes. So you got to get the help. And that sometimes that just comes as somebody who's been there trying to tell you like productive ways or better ways to do it, like learn to listen. So that would be my closing remark. I don't have much more to say.
Without the closing remarks, I just got one thing and then I'm through. The best chicken
is what?
Made in the hood.
Oh gosh,
it's in the hood.
She's still on
the best chicken. It's in the hood. And the best toast is made from the bottom rack of the oven.
Oh God.
That's all I got.
Help us today. Well, y'all, that's our wrap.
She just said something.
I can't stand her. She got to do that every episode. I'm telling you, she need a James Brown cake, bro. Like, but for real, we hope as usual, y'all take this for what it is. Two sisters talking to other sisters, talking to other brothers, because we feel the pain of our people. We feel the struggle of our people, and we just want everybody to become better versions of themselves, be the best you, so that you can get what you're supposed to get out of this life and live this life to the fullest. So I love you guys. This is the Happy Black Woman signing out.
And look, time. And look, the bottom rack of the oven, it make perfect toast. So you can't, it's not instant.
We hanging up on her, y'all.
Instant.
We hanging up on her, y'all.
And sometimes you gotta go through
the YouTube channel. Shout out to Black Wall Street, Minnesota. Shout out to Kayla Girl. Shout out to Young Shout out to Candy Girl that made the ball. And y'all subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like our social media and follow our social media. And visit the website, mysister.com. All right, till next week with part 3 of the
Put you some toast in the oven.